Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, good. How is TIFF this year? How's it going down there?
Great. So the Toronto International Film Festival, it has really picked up its game a lot this year in certain ways. So, for example, they shut down all of King Street for the first weekend, and they really created this incredible festival atmosphere.
Sounds great.
There's just thousands of people everywhere spilling onto the street. A complete good luck nightmare for the rest of the city, but really, really fun for the rest of us who are down there. And they've got all sorts of outdoor activities. And then, of course, the red carpets. You've got Robert Downey Jr., Ben Stiller, Denzel Washington, whatever, Jennifer Aniston, Al Pacino. And most excitingly for a lot of people, Bill Murray was here this year.
Oh, yeah.
And they declare, and he actually showed up too, which doesn't always happen when he says he'll be somewhere.
Yeah.
But he's kind of forced to this year because they actually declared, the city of Toronto and TIFF declared Friday Bill Murray Day.
Right.
And so he was there for the new film St. Vincent. I got to go to the premiere as well where he was there, and really great. It's a really nice film. It's kind of in the same vein as Bad Santa or Bad Teacher or Bad Grandpa or all these bad films where it's like, an old curmudgeon kind of befriends this young kid. And, he's really doing some different in the film, though, performance-wise. And I think it might be his chance to get some Oscar love finally.
Ooh, no kidding. Wow, that'd be huge.
So that's getting a bit of buzz. But really, and I hate to say this because I'm such a big TIFF fan, but the big buzz around the festival is really about the big buzz films that aren't at the festival this year.
Right.
So, a lot of films that people were really, really hoping to see just didn't get programmed. So something like the new P.T. Anderson film, the new David Fincher film, the first non-fantasy film by Tim Burton in 20 years isn't playing here. They all got their premieres at other festivals, so people are kind of looking around going, what's the big Oscar buzz? Last year we had Gravity and 12 Years a Slave and Dallas Buyers Club and all the big films that everyone knew was going to be the big Oscar ones. This year, It's not obvious at all.
Mm.
So I have seen, and there have been some great films, just most of them have played at other festivals. So one is called Whiplash, and it stars Miles Teller. He's this young guy who's going to one of the top music schools in the country, and he's aspiring to be the world's greatest drummer. And the actor himself is incredibly talented, and the film is really, really great. It's nice to see a story that actually focuses on the drummer for once, right? and the film kind of mirrors this, right? It's got this kind of frantic pacing that kind of matches the jazz rhythm of the music, and there's a lot of shots of the back of people's heads. So it's really like the point of view of a drummer, I think. With a lot of this.
That's funny.
So that's a nice one. There's this really great film called Force Majeure, which is this kind of fantastic Swedish drama about a family that experiences an avalanche in the French Alps. So they're on a ski vacation, and there's a controlled avalanche that comes, and it's all about the film. This happens in the first few minutes, and it all deals with how the family reacts to it. So the mom grabs the two kids and clutches them as the snow seems like it's coming down, and the dad grabs his cell phone and runs away. And so the whole rest of the film is dealing with this split-second decision and how they dealt with it, and it's really so interesting. It's funny, it's tense, it's gripping, it's really interesting.
Cool.
And then there's also Foxcatcher, which played at Cannes, and it's starring Channing Tatum and Steve Carell. And Channing Tatum plays this Olympic gold medalist. Mark Schultz is based on a true story. And it's about his relationship with this really eccentric billionaire, John DuPont. Right. It's really, one of the few films that will definitely get some Oscar love that we know is playing here.
This is not by accident. They knew what films were coming. Are you surprised that, there's nothing with Oscar buzz or that these things have been screened elsewhere before they came?
Well, here's the thing. 2014 will be known as the year that TIFF got tough. Mm-hmm. And they said, unless you're playing a world premiere, you're not playing at the festival for the first 4 days anyway, which is why the first weekend was always like the big buzz. But a lot of these films, they get scooped up by, there's a couple festivals in the States that don't announce their lineups ahead of time, and they're just really for critics. But TIFF was sick of getting scooped, and so they got tough this year and said, if you're playing here in the first weekend, it has to be a world premiere. Right. So that's been part of the reason why the first weekend felt like a little strange because TIFF doesn't have, unfortunately for us, and if you're in Toronto, it doesn't have like a monopoly, on great films. So so they're sort of dealing with that this year. But there's still some really fun ones. I saw a documentary on the Soviet superstars of the 70s and 80s. The Russian hockey players. Right. And it's easily, it's a great sports doc and definitely the best hockey documentary of all time. Just it's really fantastic. Wow. Yeah, this film that, we always consider as Canadians the 72 Summit Series as sort of the pinnacle, showdown. Well, this film, it starts after that, doesn't even mention that, and it's incredible. It shows how they really rose after that, maybe in reaction to it, and how they just have this incredible discipline where their players were actually enlisted as soldiers. They had to live in barracks for 11 months a year. They couldn't see their family, just this intense training. And,
wow.
And it gets all the way up to the point of when, the collapse of the Soviet Union and how they start to come to the NHL, and just an incredibly fascinating documentary. I think people are going to love it.
Sounds awesome. Christopher Redmond down at Toronto International Film Festival. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys.